China's renewing a yellow alert for heavy rainstorms yesterday as pouring rain continues to soak central and southern China. An expert warns that one of the world's largest dams is at risk of collapse.
Just now, something shocking unfolded at China's new mega dam, sending shockwaves around the globe. Perched on the Yangtze River, this gigantic dam was designed to be a beacon of clean energy, powering millions far and wide. But as its completion looms, fears are soaring. Could this marvel turn into a monumental disaster? Could this be a fatal flaw in what's meant to be a symbol of progress? Let's dive into the alarming details of this looming crisis. The unseen risks of China's hydro ambitions. In a region often hit by earthquakes, a massive project is underway to control water and use it for energy. This project includes China's newest giant dam, built on the Yangtze River. Many have praised it as a big step forward in clean energy, marking an important moment for renewable power. However, as the turbines began to spin, tremors shook the riverbanks, sparking fears of unforeseen consequences. The country is known for quickly implementing plans, and this hydroelectric project is no exception. The goal is to use a natural resource that not only supports its own population, but also affects people around the world. Even before full implementation of the plans, people began raising doubts. What was supposed to be a victory for clean energy has now sparked both environmental and political worries. Some even wonder if the massive dam is at risk of failure, or if there's more going on behind the scenes. Now, let's dive deeper into the ongoing issues surrounding the enormous dam, looking at the environmental problems it's causing and the potential global impact. This situation has even cast a shadow over the Three Gorges Dam, a project with a price tag of 200 billion yen. It was meant to protect millions from floods and serve as a symbol of technological strength and national pride. But things haven't gone as smoothly as planned. Recently, the country has been dealing with more severe weather, with heavier rain, more floods, and hotter temperatures becoming the new normal. To deal with these challenges, many dams have been built along its longest river, including several hydroelectric stations in some of the most remote and earthquake-prone areas of the world. These rivers, which begin in the high mountains, provide water to millions of people, including those who rely on the Yangtze River, which plays a key role in the economy. But building these dams comes with huge challenges due to the narrow canyons and earthquake risks in the area. The giant project, which cost a staggering 200 billion yuan, about $28 billion, took nearly 20 years to complete and forced over 1 million people to leave their homes along the Yangtze River. The government promised that this dam would prevent disastrous floods, but many are questioning if it has lived up to that promise. And here's where things get even more concerning. Recently, the Yangtze Basin saw the heaviest rainfall in 60 years. The river and its branches have overflowed, and the heavy rains in central and southern regions just keep coming. Some experts now fear that one of the largest dams in the world could be in danger of collapsing. The toll has been devastating. More than 158 people are either dead or missing, and over 3 million people have been forced to leave their homes, with almost 55 million people affected overall. Financial losses are also massive, reaching 144 billion yuan, or about $2.5 billion. Despite its bold promises, the Three Gorges Dam has struggled to meet the high expectations set when it was first built. In fact, the dam projects have caused flooding in Tibetan towns and sparked rare protests in one of the most tightly controlled areas, showing just how far-reaching and controversial these huge undertakings can be. But the challenges don't stop there. In the Sichuan region, a large group of people gathered outside the county office to express their concerns. They were asking to stop the building of a huge hydroelectric dam on the Du River, which would generate 1.1 million kilowatts of power. Additionally, They wanted to reverse the decision that would force thousands of Tibetans to leave their homes in Upper Wono and Sha villages. Even more concerning, 6 important monasteries, including the 13th century Wono monastery, known for its priceless murals, would be at risk of being submerged when the dam's reservoir fills up. Let's explore the clash between tradition and progress along the Yangtze River. Navigating the dilemmas of hydroelectricity in Tibet. The local Tibetan community pointed out that the project didn't take into account the deep religious and cultural significance of these monasteries, which are central to Tibetan Buddhism. This situation highlights the dangers that come with the push to modernize the economy. The Yangtze River, which stretches for over 6,300 kilometers, is not only the longest river in Asia, but the 3rd longest in the world after the Nile and the Amazon. The Yangtze has played a crucial role in shaping history, economy, and culture. It starts from the Tibetan Plateau, flows through the middle of the country, and ends in the East China Sea near Shanghai. The river provides water to millions of people and supports many industries. In fact, the river's delta alone makes up nearly 20% of the GDP, showing just how vital this river is to the economy. While the Yangtze River is important, it can also be very dangerous. The debate over building a huge dam like this one is ongoing. Dams have long been seen as symbols of progress because they control rivers, generate power, and provide water to millions. Big dams can power entire cities, prevent flooding, and improve irrigation by managing about 22 billion cubic meters of water. They seem like a perfect solution for both development and environmental sustainability. However, things aren't so simple. These massive dams come with major risks. Building a dam isn't just about stopping a river. It changes entire ecosystems, displaces people, and puts historical sites in danger. When something goes wrong with these projects, the consequences can be devastating. The commitment to building huge dams is evident, for example, in the massive dam on the Brahmaputra River near the border with India, which has raised concerns given the already tense relationship between the two countries. A prime example of determination to control rivers is the Three Gorges Dam, the largest hydroelectric project in the world. It shows commitment to generating clean energy through hydroelectric power, but it also comes with its own set of problems. Fragile ecosystems and ancient Tibetan sites are threatened by flooding. The situation at the Three Gorges Dam has become so critical that officials have had to open the spillways to release pressure, but heavy rain has made it difficult to manage. And that's not the worst part. China is also prone to earthquakes, which means these mega dams are even more at risk. So the question remains, do the benefits of these huge dams outweigh the dangers they pose? This is a debate that continues without a clear answer. The upper section of the Yangtze River, called the Jinsha River, flows between Tibet and Sichuan. This area has the potential to produce 112 gigawatts of electricity, which is about 1/4 of China's total hydroelectric power. The region is known around the world for its impressive ability to generate electricity through water, as several rivers flow down from the Tibetan Plateau. Using this natural flow of water is a key part of helping China reach its carbon neutrality goals faster. Hydroelectricity plays a big role in the country's energy plans. However, it's not without challenges. The areas with the highest potential for hydroelectric power are also some of the most difficult to work in. They have rugged landscapes, fast-flowing rivers, and large amounts of water, but they also suffer from unstable geology. This instability creates serious problems. For example, the Himalayan region, which has strong rivers fed by glaciers and melting snow, is one of the most earthquake-prone areas in the world. It lies on the boundary of two tectonic plates, which makes it more likely to experience landslides, earthquakes, and floods, all of which could cause severe damage to dams. As we look at the challenges of building dams, we also face the dangers of nature itself. Triumphs and dark trials. Building large dams in these regions has raised concerns because of these risks. Another area of concern is Sichuan Province, home to the well-known Three Gorges Dam. Although the dam generates huge amounts of power, the region is prone to earthquakes. In 2008, a massive earthquake hit the nearby Wenchuan area, causing over 87,000 deaths. While the Three Gorges Dam survived, the earthquake showed just how dangerous geological instability can be. But that wasn't the worst part. These disasters highlight how complicated it is to build and maintain dams in areas like these. The technology needed to create such infrastructure in unstable zones is highly advanced and requires enormous effort. The dams along the Yangtze River are especially at risk from tectonic movements, making construction even more difficult. One of these dams will be the tallest, standing at 239 meters, taller than the Hoover Dam. Building it is a huge challenge because it involves stabilizing a riverbed that is soft and muddy, using rocks and concrete. The steep mountains nearby often experience landslides and avalanches, which means large concrete barriers need to be built along the sides of the gorge to stop erosion and prevent collapse. Concrete blocks as tall as skyscrapers have been placed along the cliffs to strengthen the structures. The river, known for causing disastrous floods, has been behind some of the deadliest natural disasters in history. In the 20th century alone, floods from this river caused the deaths of about 300,000 people. This includes the devastating flood of 1931, which drowned 145,000 people, and the 1954 flood, which led to 30,000 deaths due to diseases that followed. The Yangtze River continues to be a powerful but dangerous force. It can both sustain life and destroy it, shaping the landscape and the history of the areas it runs through. In 1994, China started building the Three Gorges Dam, a huge project aimed at protecting over 15 million people living in Shanghai and the lower Yangtze floodplains from floods. It was also designed to manage water across almost 15,000 square kilometers. The project cost somewhere between $28 and $60 billion and stands almost 200 meters tall, stretching over 2 kilometers across the Yangtze River. The dam was built to withstand a 6.0 magnitude earthquake, making it an incredible piece of engineering. The dam created the Three Gorges Reservoir, which stretches about 600 kilometers upstream and can hold nearly 40 billion cubic meters of water. When it was first built, it was the largest hydroelectric facility in the world, producing more than 20,000 megawatts of power. To put that in perspective, that's over 20 times more than the Hoover Dam, and about as much energy as 18 nuclear power plants. This energy helps meet nearly 10% of China's energy needs. If coal were used instead, it would release an extra 100 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere each year. In addition to providing energy, the dam has also made it easier for large ships to travel further into China, which has boosted trade. However, this massive project has caused some problems too. It has changed the river's ecosystems, put some species at risk, and may have worsened water quality and spread waterborne diseases because the river's flow has slowed down. On top of that, the reservoir has caused landslides and possibly even small earthquakes, and more than 1 million people had to leave their homes because of it. Next, we see how the Three Gorges Dam helps and harms, reshaping lives and landscapes. China's cultural crossroads. Entire communities had to relocate, and many cultural sites along the river were submerged. To address some concerns, China spent an extra $4.8 billion during construction to build water treatment plants and waste management facilities along the river. Still, the environmental and social impacts of the dam remain hotly debated. The Three Gorges Dam is a symbol of China's ambitious projects and the tough decisions that come with them. While it provides many benefits, it also puts China's rich cultural heritage at risk. In a country filled with history, including ancient temples, tall pagodas, and sacred monasteries tucked away in mountains, these places are more than just tourist spots. They're part of the everyday life of many communities, especially in places like Tibet, where tradition runs deep. But even more concerning is the risk to these irreplaceable cultural treasures. Imagine a 700-year-old monastery, its walls covered in ancient murals, now in danger of being swallowed by rising waters. The loss of such places would mean more than just the destruction of buildings. It would threaten the very identity and history of entire communities. In regions like Tibet, where monasteries are the heart of the community, losing them would be like tearing away a piece of the community's soul. In 2007, areas known for earthquakes experienced more than 100 tremors. These happened between the Sichuan Basin and the Jinsha River. If an earthquake hits the fault line near the Ginga River, it could spell disaster for many dams along the river. If one dam fails, it could trigger a chain reaction, with more dams collapsing and making the situation even worse. These dams aren't just a problem because of earthquakes, they also threaten the cultural heritage and historic sites of Tibet. One dam in particular will create a large lake that might flood valleys for miles, forcing people out of their homes and villages. The Chinese government estimates that the Gengar Dam alone will displace about 4,000 people and flood 5 temples. One of these is the Wo Monastery, a monastery from the 13th century that has survived events like the Cultural Revolution. Its walls are decorated with 700-year-old frescoes and murals, which will be lost if the water rises. Some leaked videos show Tibetans protesting the dam's construction, but despite their efforts, the building continues. But this wasn't the worst part. Since China sent troops to Tibet in 1950, the government has tried to merge Tibetans into a single national identity under the Communist Party. Monasteries in Tibet aren't just religious places, they are the heart of the community's spiritual and cultural life. Destroying a monastery is like taking away the soul of a community, leaving emptiness where culture and connection used to thrive. Even though Tibetans are protesting, the Chinese government isn't responding to their concerns. On top of that, the dams being built along the Jinsha River are part of China's larger plan to expand hydroelectric power. These projects help meet China's growing energy needs, and people compare them to fast food because they quickly solve power demands. However, they also come with big risks. Villages could be flooded, and ancient cultural sites like monasteries, along with their priceless art, could be lost forever. But the real challenge isn't just about culture. Building such massive dams in areas prone to earthquakes and landslides is risky. If the earth shifts or a quake hits at a crucial moment, the damage could be enormous. One dam failure might cause others to collapse, just like a line of dominoes falling. While these dams help provide energy, the real question is it worth the price? Balancing development with protecting cultural treasures and people's homes is a tough challenge. Now, let's see how huge dams around the world bring both benefits and big challenges. The world's largest dams and their impact. Balancing the need to preserve cultures and protect the environment has become one of the hardest tasks the country is facing. To understand why this dam matters, think about the huge scale of dam projects around the world. It's impressive to see how China's massive dam surpasses most others in size. These dams produce electricity, help control floods, and reshape entire landscapes. While they offer a lot of benefits, they also bring about major challenges. Let's explore some of the biggest dams, from Zambia to Canada, not just for their size, but also for the huge reservoirs they create, shaped by the land and rivers they block. Take the Kariba Dam, for example. Built between 1955 and 1959 on the Zambezi River, it is a massive structure. It has the largest reservoir by volume, holding an incredible 185 billion cubic meters of water. Designed by French architect André Coin, this dam stretches 579 meters long and stands 128 meters high. Building it was dangerous, and many workers, especially among the Italian crew, lost their lives. Today, the dam produces 1,320 megawatts of electricity for Zambia and Zimbabwe, and it continues to undergo repairs to stay strong. Now, let's look at the Bratsk Dam in Siberia, Russia. It holds the second largest reservoir in the world, with 169 billion cubic meters of water. Built in the harsh Siberian climate between 1954 and 1964, this dam spans 1.5 kilometers. It not only generates electricity with its 18 turbines, but also supports both a highway and a railway. It produces 4,500 megawatts of power. In Ghana, the Akosombo Dam created the largest man-made lake by surface area, called Lake Volta. Built between 1961 and 1965, the reservoir holds 144 billion cubic meters of water. This dam powers Ghana and even supplies electricity to its neighbors, Benin and Togo. But this isn't the most surprising fact. In Quebec, Canada, the Daniel Johnson Dam, built on the Manicouagan River, holds 140 billion cubic meters of water. It's the longest multiple-arch dam in the world, standing at 214 meters tall. Named after a local leader who pushed for the region's hydroelectric growth, this dam is essential to the area. In Venezuela, the Guri Dam, also known as the Simón Bolívar hydroelectric plant, holds 135 billion cubic meters of water. For years, it was the most powerful dam in the world, producing 10,200 megawatts of power and providing over 70% of the country's electricity. Another famous dam is the Aswan High Dam on the Nile River in Egypt. Built between 1960 and 1968, it created Lake Nasser, which holds 132 billion cubic meters of water. This dam produces 2,100 megawatts of electricity and controls the Nile's yearly floods. But during its construction, there was a real threat of flooding the ancient Abu Simbel temples. Thankfully, a global effort managed to save and relocate the temples to a safer spot. Still, that's not the end of the story. In British Columbia, Canada, the WAC Bennett Dam on the Peace River created Williston Lake, which holds 74 billion cubic meters of water. Built in the 1960s, it's a key part of the province's economic growth, producing 2,790 megawatts of power. Are the environmental costs of such massive dams justified? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.